मुझे थोड़ा सा
Dr. Bhupesh,
Hello.
welcome to the webinar. Hello.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. I'm your host, Himansha. I work for Qualcomm. I'm also the co-chair for ASSOCHAM's National IPR Committee on Intellectual Property. Now, this is a webinar series that we've started to just connect with all of you on the field of intellectual property. Today's webinar is a very interesting one where we will hear about insights from four experienced folks in the area of innovation IPR, but from an incubator perspective. So we'll introduce them in some time. Right now, what we'll get started with is on the importance of IPR, and this program is brought to you by a course material called L2pro. It stands for Learn to Protect, Secure, and Maximize Your Innovations. Now, this program was started, in the year 2021. That's when it came out in the market, where with the genesis of collecting observations from startups and how they deal and interact with IPR. In our work with the Qualcomm Design in India program, we have first-hand information of working with 125 plus startups and understanding what their awareness issues are when it comes to IPR. We have a good number of startups that are very IP savvy, and a few others, they required some mentorship in order to get them where they are today. Now, in collaboration with DPIIT and NLU Delhi, this program has been constituted. Again, the target audience are startups, SMEs, and if you are working with incubators, if you are a part of incubator, please highly encourage you to refer to this program. It is an e-learning IP training program which will increase awareness and help you in understanding various IPR nuances from a protection perspective, how we can protect your innovations, how we can be more IP aware when it comes to copyrights and protecting your software, how startups need to protect their brand identities through trademarks. Really, we are after IP strategy as an active part of your company's business model, because everyone can obtain better value from their R&D efforts. In bringing our innovations out to market, IPR is going to be a very important asset. The course is split across 3 modules: basic, intermediate, and advanced. The basic module is something which every startup founder, every startup CTO should be familiar with. This covers the IP fundamental rights around the categories that are of most relevance to them. The intermediate level, we cover some of the behind the scenes nuances when it comes to filing, searching, in terms of how assignment and licensing could work. And as startups scale up, the agreements such as NDAs and restrictive covenants play a much bigger role. And in the advanced module, we have topics which cover how we can get access to better funding and VC, how we can work with standards and standard setting organizations, and how we can deal with disputes. At the end of every module, there is an assessment which is based on both a case study and factual questions. The goal is to not just provide the knowledge, is to help people practice, and which is why the case study has been introduced. So when you are taking the assessment, you'll get a question that here's a startup which is encountering such a problem. What will you do in a similar situation? The material is also designed to be very interactive. So apart from it having this look and feel, I'm showing you some screenshots from the course. You can also find helpful resources, such as where can you find patent facilitators for empanel with TPIIT, or how can you read more details about the SIPP stream. There are pop-up quizzes. Overall, the material has more of a playful feel. We also know that your time is limited today. So every lesson has a 2-minute intro video and a 2-minute summary video. So by just giving 5 minutes per lesson, in my opinion, you can learn about 60 to 70% of the course material. And for the rest of the details, you can refer to this course as and when you like. My colleague Anirban has pasted the links to where you can access the course. You can view it on the web, or you can get it on your favorite app store. It is completely free. So anyone can register, on this program. There's no charge at all. And if you complete the assessment successfully, you will get a certificate which is provided to you by DPIIT, by NLU Delhi, and by Qualcomm. So please, help us, spread more awareness about L2pro. This course has been enjoyed by more than 5,700 learners, and we'd love you and your students to be a part of it. Now, having said that, today, let's now focus our attention to what are some of the practical aspects that incubators face and what are some of the best practices that we can learn from them. Today, we have a panel of 4 speakers. I'll briefly introduce them. Our first speaker for the day is Mr. Rajneesh Kumar. He's associated with the Technology Transfer Office at the BITS Pilani. He's a tech commercialization expert with over 15 years in IP commercialization, entrepreneurship, management, science, and technology policy. He's an Indo-US Science Tech Forum Award Khurana Scholar for Tech Transfer. He's a trained professional in tech commercialization at the University of Wisconsin. Currently, he's heading the innovation management activities of tech commercialization at the BITS Pilani Group as a tech transfer professional. And before that, he has extensively worked in incubation and entrepreneurship. He was the founding director of Nexus and Innovation Hub and Business Incubator at the US State Department through the US Embassy, and IC2 Institute, a tech commercialization center of the University of Texas in Austin. He has worked in various capacities with agri incubators, with biotech incubators, and has been an advisor and consultant to the Bangalore Bio Innovation Center and Indigram Labs. Rajneesh, thank you so much for joining us today. Next, we have Mr. Ravi Pandey. He's a Research Establishment Officer, IP and Tech Transfer at IIT Kanpur. He heads their IPR and Tech Transfer Office. He is a qualified RTTP, which is the Registered Tech Transfer Professional in Feb 2020. Overall, he has 11 plus years of experience in IPR management, including patent filing, searching, policy development, startup incubation, tech transfer, evaluation, agreement drafting, and vetting. Literally the full spectrum. He has formulated different policies, including the tech transfer, faculty and staff entrepreneurship policy of IIT Kanpur, and has also worked as an advisor on IPR issues for the Jharkhand government. His transactions have won the STEM Impact Award twice, and he has worked as an advisor for several industries, including MSMEs and startups. And he has been a keynote speaker at several IPR-related conferences and seminars. Welcome, Ravi. Thank you for joining us. Next, we have Dr. Bhupesh Sharma. He's a manager and scientist at the Tech Business Incubator at the Sridham Institute for Industrial Research at Delhi. He has been there since 1992 and has over 31 years of experience in R&D. He has handled various research and developments covering wide areas such as radiation processing, polymer processing, management of waste, recycling of plastic. He has 25 research papers and 4 patents. Very interestingly, he has been a member of Indian scientific expeditions to the Indian scientific base Maitri in Antarctica for long-term environmental monitoring and impact assessment studies. Very, very cool. Literally, cool place over there. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Shah. Finally, we have Ms. Mini Srivastava, who's an associate professor at Amity University. She's a seasoned legal academician with the Amity Law School. She has earned a diploma in her LLB from the University of Delhi, her LLM from Indian Law Institute, and PG diploma in human rights, humanitarian law, and refugee law from the Indian Society for International Law. Her area of interest lies in IP law and technology, and constitutional law. And apart from, of course, teaching law, she has worked as a faculty in charge of Corporate Resource Center of the MIT Law School for 7 years. Very good to see you again, Dr. Mini. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting
So in our
Next station, please.
first year, may I request Rajneesh Kumar to please cover his remarks. And what I'll request the attendees to please be on mute, and if there's any questions, please put them in the chat box, and we will highlight them to the speakers as their turn arises. Rajneesh, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Iman, for the invitation. And as you mentioned, today's session is focused more on the generalized IV awareness for incubators and I think startups and MSMEs as well. So I will just take few of the examples and I will share some of the experiences that I've come across while working in different institutions and how IP plays an important role. So if I start with my current affiliation at BITS Pilani, so BITS Pilani, they initiated this tech transfer initiative in the institution just 3 years back. And now, since it has become a mandate across all the institutions, higher education institution, to have specialized centers for protecting intellectual properties and looking for their commercialization. So now all the institutions have now established IP cell or a tech transfer cell. But the mandate, the way it has to be structured now, it is getting streamlined with time, with policies that each institution is now adopting. But if you see the working, the way the IP cell in India or tech transfer cell India works as compared to the IP tech transfer cell, which are based in Western countries, is markedly different. And I think we need to reach to that level in order to see how the research commercialization can be taken in a very streamlined way. But just to start with, the most important thing that comes in the picture is an IP protection for all the research that is being taken place in academic research institutions and incubators, those who are dealing with the startup companies. And there are a lot of IP issues which a startup has to face at their level itself. If I start from an academic institution perspective, the basis of an IP and tech transfer cell is totally based on the research level, the kind of research that is being conducted at the institution, and at what level the research outputs are coming out of it. And if I talk of academic institutions and IP policies, I think a very strong framework has to be required. And now, as I just mentioned, institution of higher education have come up with their own policies as per the National Innovation Science and startup policy. Every institution has to put up a framework of different policies, either it is for an intellectual property right, technology commercialization, or faculty entrepreneurs. As you might be seeing, a lot of faculties, they are coming up with a lot of intellectual properties that has come out of their research. And the aspirations of these faculties just not limited to the academic aspect. They want to take their science to the market and to serve the society by bringing the good science that is resulting into a more product or the service which a general public can use. So the only vehicle they can use is either to look for a tech license to establish company or start their own venture, which we call as a spin-off in case they do it from their end. So such kind of policy framework has now starting getting established in the institutions. All this is happening because now universities which are known for, which are the hotbeds for innovation, they are just not limited to education and research. Their boundaries are now expanding, and these boundaries are also reaching out to the business which is related to the science commercialization. And hence these policies and hence the enablers which we are establishing in these institutions, like a sponsored research office that help the faculties to structure the research, do the contracts with different industries, negotiate their IPs, then IP and tech transfer office that protects the intellectual property, and then they take them for commercialization. And finally, the incubators, which they really commercialize these IP in the form of creating ventures like new startup companies, or transferring it to an MSMEs to make them more enable and more IP pro in order to provide them good services. So IP as a whole is becoming a core, and it is the new currency which every institution, either it's an academic institution or an MSME or a startup, really need to look into very seriously. If we compare ourselves or the academic institutions or the startups in comparison to our counterparts in the Western countries, they take IP in a very serious manner, because IP for them is time, investment, and money. And that's why they deal with IP in a very serious manner. Just to share one of the example, I got a chance to get trained at the University of Wisconsin. The level, the way they deal with the IP protection within the institution was so aggressive and so serious, because at the end of the day, they want to get a monetizable asset or the monetizable benefit out of it. The reason being, one of the most important thing and one of the most one thing that amazed me, that the tech transfer office there at University of Wisconsin Madison used to fund the university to carry out research in different areas, new areas. So that's the kind of perspective in the Western countries where tech transfer office, which are sitting on $1 billion endowment fund by commercializing the technologies and protecting the technologies, are helping universities to do innovative research, futuristic research, which helps them to create new IPs, protect new IPs, commercialize the new IP, help them grow the economies by bringing new startup companies to the incubators, help establish companies to have new technologies to work on innovative or futuristic technologies. So IP becomes really a very core to any of the businesses. Sometimes we say that we need to have an IP strategy. In fact, I would say it's not an IP strategy. It is always your business strategy for a startup company. For example, if a startup company wants to protect an IP in India, I assume they want to carry their business within India itself. If their business allows them that they want to explore their business across geographies out of India itself, then they have to devise their strategy to protect the IP in different countries as well. So it is the business strategy that drives your IP strategy per se. So when you're coming with an IP, as I just mentioned, is becoming a new currency. As an academic institution, every research has some tangible impact of those technologies in the market itself. So there need to be specific enablers that need to be established within the academic system, and these academic system universities have now come up with different enablers. If I talk of my established within an academic ecosystem that generates IP, that protects the IP, and then takes away the IP in the market, as really helping these institutions and the scientists to explore new avenues of research, as well as to other revenues as well. So if I say some of these enablers are sponsored research cell, because these research units help the faculty to streamline their research functions, pre-grant award, post-grant award, and help them liaison with the industry. Then another enablers, which is important, which is the basis for this today's discussion, are the IP cell, which helps these faculties to protect the IP at an early stage and see if they have a commercializable angle to it. Tech transfer officers or the tech transfer managers, they interact with the faculties as one of the enablers to see if they have the potential to get these technology into the market. Are there any regulatory hurdles that need to be resolved around it? Another way which all these educational institutions are coming up is our incubators, business incubators. All these business incubators per se has a mandate to inculcate new ideas from faculties or innovators those who want to create a startup company out of those intellectual properties that they've created. This is one of the most impactful way because it contributes to the economy in terms of creating new businesses, in terms of creating new jobs, in terms of bringing new technologies in a more tangible and I would say with ease to the society itself. So I think intellectual property as an asset is going to be the new currency and the new enablers and the new policies which government of India has brought in with support, either as a funding support to protect the IP at an early stages or to take those IP to a certain level where they can be taken by the companies or whether they can be commercialized as an startup companies. These policies are really helping to create an innovation ecosystem within an Indian ecosystem. And as a result, India is now the third largest startup ecosystem. And I would say almost, I'm not sure of the exact percentage, but almost like 25% of the startup companies which are coming out of these are deep tech companies which are running their business on the intellectual property which they've sourced from the institution or they've created within their institution itself. So that's it from my side on IP, and maybe I will contribute in between till I leave. Hemang, over to you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Very, very impactful remarks, and it quite resonate with all the observations that you've shared here. There's one question. I know you have to drop off at 4:30, but there's one question which is the question is from Varsha Padi. It's more of about a pharma company's patent is about to expire and will be in the public domain soon. So what should be the IP strategy for the company? And maybe if you can touch upon, meaning this is a situation which can apply to any sector, not just pharma, right? That when you have let's say, a patent or some IP rights which are going to expire soon, what is the best way to commercialize them?
So if it is from a company itself, for example, there have been different cases that we come across where patent have not been commercialized since long, and in the end, there's some companies which they are looking for. Either if I talk from a academic perspective, trying to license it as much in order to see if you can have more revenues coming out from the different streams by different partners who would like to commercialize it in different geographies. That could be one possibility that you can look for getting it commercialized. There is another thing that sometimes comes in picture, which is like evergreening of the patent. If you really feel there could be a possible enhancement on the already existing IP that you can think of, and you can put up a new patent around it, you can further explore a possibility of a new patent where you can still explore the benefit of those patent in order to come in case you want to commercialize it as a perspective. But those things are really like very critical. For example, there are a few examples of Amgen where they have a patent on one of their innovative product which was going off patent, and they try to extend it by doing an evergreening process, by bringing the new innovative process or enhancing their existing technologies by showing the enhanced effect, and they got a patent around that. So those could be the strategies, but these are more research-based strategy where you really have to think of whether you are able to enhance that effect of an existing technology to a certain level that qualifies you to get an additional patent or a new patent around it in order in case you want to take it to the market or want to control or have a monopoly on that part of it.
Thanks so much. Let me invite the next speaker over, Mr. Ravi Pandey. So Ravi, if you can, share your thoughts, and maybe what I'll request, Ravi, Dr. Bhupesh, and Dr. Vinny, if we can discuss, you can limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Then the chat box is quite active, so maybe it will give us time to take a lot of audience Q&A. Right, so over to you, Ravi.
Okay, thank you, Iman. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts. I always used to wonder whenever I was doing courses, short-term courses on WIPO portal, the different distance learning programs that used to last some 30 days or 60 days. I always used to wonder why there is no such portal indigenous portal in our country. And I'm so happy to see that L2pro has come, and for the initial conversation, I'm part of this as one of the speakers. Here you have talked about basic level, intermediate, and advanced level series of awareness modules that you have uploaded and will be a part of the awareness conglomerate. So it is such a commendable step that has been taken by DPIIT, CPAM, ASSOCHAM, and Qualcomm as well. Now coming to this IP awareness part, I would like to emphasize that IP awareness is very important in terms of this transition from this white labeling to manufacturing sector. I will be talking a larger overview of this, but I have seen this in the pandemic. During the pandemic, 23rd of March 2020, I was part of a special task force whose job was to find out a solution to prevent the pandemic from spreading in the community level. We were shocked to know that in the country of having 140 crore population, the number of invasive ventilators were limited to 1 lakh only. That was the job given to us to handhold the startups in order to produce or manufacture invasive ventilators. We asked some 3 or 4 startups to come up with us, and their question was, what is it that you are going to provide us? And we said, we will provide you the components, the technology, the funding, and the customers as well. What else do you want from our side? So they happily agreed. Finally, one startup alumnus of ours, he said, yes, we agree. And there, at that moment of time, we had a small portfolio of 7 patents for that technology. And the competitor was none other than General Electric, who was already developing such invasive ventilators for quite a long time. So you can imagine the kind of competition that we had, and we developed that product and project within a record period of 90 days. So that was the kind of intent that is required, and hand in hand, it is not possible without protecting your inventions through IPR. And before arriving at that stage, IP awareness is very important. If people are not knowing about what IP is, what are the strategies required, what are the basic concepts, or what are the prospects of IP are required. Recently, one participant has asked what will be the strategy that is required for a pharma company whose patent is going to end up or get into a public domain by the 20th year or 19th year. So these strategies needs to be devised in the starting years of the patent filing or before the patent filing only. When one is filing the patent, they need to retain the black box away from the claims. The claims are supposed to be written in such a manner, in such a broader manner, that the key pinpoint black box should not be revealed. One should not go to the website of ipindia.gov.in and find out the claims, and just by going through or studying the claim, one should not be able to reverse engineer the entire process or product. So some black box needs to be retained. These are the strategies of what I have just said. It is one of the very minute strategies that is often opined in the IPR cell or in the technology transfer office. There are unlimited strategies that needs to be defined. And it is not only limited to, awareness is not only limited to the IPR professional, but to inventors as well. Now, a lot of times it happens that they have published it, they have publicly disclosed it before the patent application filing. Many times it happens that even during the submission of article, research paper, in the archive section, the website or the journal has the mandate to upload it on the website. Now in the archive section, it has a preprint edition has already been uploaded. Now the privilege to inventor or to the applicant to file patent despite publication is only available in US jurisdiction. They give a grace period to the inventor or the applicant to file their patent despite publicizing it. But that is not the case in India. There are other nuances like patent filing, post-filing national phases, what are the deadlines for PCT and national phases. I will not go much into detail. But what I'm trying to say, this transition into manufacturing sector rather than white labeling is possible through IP awareness, enforcement of IP. Luckily, we have had IPR policy in 2016. We had an ISP policy in 2019. I will commend the policymakers or the administration who have thought from this perspective that the 80% fee for startups or for educational institute will be waived. Now, earlier, the institutions were not capable enough to apply for an expedited examination. Now, the Form 18A, which used to cost 60,000 rupees, now the entire patent application is costing, including the professional and official filing fee, some 60,000 rupees. Now, within that cost only, one institution is filing 2 patents. So, can you imagine the kind of approach that the government had by subsidizing this? And in the long run, 1 out of 100 such patent gets translated into a product, and the kind of revenues that it will make. One patent will have numerous advantages. For example, a patent getting converted into a product will certainly make some revenues. Livelihood through employment will be there, taxes will be there, revenue for the company will be there, and eventually a swarm or a group of such patents leading to high revenues will lead to economic benefit as well. So there are direct and indirect effects of this patent or IPR which were never realized earlier in the past. Other than the subsidizing of patent application fee, there is a recent provision in wherein the ranking framework captures the number of patent licensed, commercialized, translated, and the kind of approach for an institute in terms of adopting the national policy frameworks like NSP. So here at IIT Kanpur, what we have observed that mere filing of patent and mere grant of a patent is not an accomplishment, which is the biggest myth among the research community. Until unless it gets translated, it is not a tool for academic purposes, rather it is a tool for commercialization. And this paradigm shift transition from the perspective purposes has changed a lot. The organization for which I work right now, the conversion rate is 13.66. For example, if we are filing 100 patents, we have been converting 13 or 14 patents a year. And although this is not a prerequisite, but I am so glad to say that we have been making a break even for past 3-4 years. So if we are spending X, we have been earning 6X. So this is the kind of approach that we have. This year IIT Kanpur has ranked number 1 in NIRF ranking. And to just emphasize on this NIRF ranking, 25% is the weightage given to patent file, tech transfer, commercialize. That is the indirect weightage. And 20% is the indirect weightage. So overall it accounts to 45%. So patent filing, technology transfer, all these activities are getting reflected into these national rankings as well. So it is so good that even the policy makers are thinking from these perspective. Students, faculty member and staff, there are entrepreneurship policies which are being allowed through NISP. This policy allows even private college institutions and even government organizations, those innovators who have the bandwidth, who have invented something and they assume that they have the bandwidth to translate the technology through a spin-off, they can do so by utilizing this NISP policy. And luckily, due to the presence of all these incubation centers and the funding options that we had recently, I'm so glad that a lot of transition is happening in terms of this cheetah and a lot of this level A series of funding, and big short companies are coming, and acquisition and a lot of fundraising has been happening. So as recently the previous speaker has already mentioned that we are number 3 in terms of startups. So I'm lucky to be a part of this. I feel more and more work needs to be done. The only thing that needs to be emphasized upon that the incentivization criteria that has been part of policy framework, this needs to be shifted from patent filed to patent commercialized. I feel that there should not be any incentive for mere filing a patent. Rather, if a patent commercialization has been done, that should be considered as one of the accomplishments. So in the recent days, what we have observed that spin-off has been a part of academic institutions. Students, graduating students, faculty members, full-time serving faculty members are coming again and again with their projects which were earlier used to get abandoned in 4 or 5 years. They used to work on a project, then they abandon the project in the 4th or 5th year, then they shift on to another project. Now that is not the case. People are coming with product, they are talking about revenues, they are talking about fundraising. And why it is all possible? Because there is a certainty provided to the startup founders, there is certainty provided to the innovators through IPR. They are getting their products or process, they are getting the monopoly, or you can say there's some kind of protection has been given by filing these IPRs. So these are the aspects that I feel more and more should be promoted. The way the Indian academia has transitioned, it is a commendable, and the approach by companies like Qualcomm, DPIIT, more and more such approaches should be done. And this recent step by CPAM in terms of L2pro, I would comment that as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Really appreciate the great work that IIT Kanpur, over the years, but even more impactful, I would say, was during the pandemic, early days of the pandemic, and the ventilators, but also the great work that Dr. Abhay Karandikar and all the startups did at the time. So really kudos for a fabulous establishment, and thank you for your kind words as well. I think there is I don't know if you have any experience on the brand side of things, but there's a question around the support that the police officials are giving, when it comes to any infringement efforts. Would you have any details on that?
So just wanted to apprise you that there is, on annual basis, the Patent IP India office floats a award. So this award is given for those police stations who have recorded any criminal case against the infringement in the terms of trademark infringement, imitation of brand, and those police stations who have filed such cases and have seized counterfeited goods, they are being awarded. So this is the kind of incentivization which is ongoing by the government of India. So for this police case and what the question that has been referred, it is subjected to a specific act. If it is a work-related infringement, then it would fall under Copyright Act 1957. Then a specific subset will be applicable. If it is a patent infringement, then again it is a subject to commercial court and injunction, and finally whether it is a cognizable or non-cognizable, a lot of nuances come into play. So I would not go much deep into that, but yes, for police station there is an incentivization scheme ongoing for the enforcement and for crime reporting.
Thank you so much, Ravi. I think in the interest of time, let's invite the next speaker to the stage, Dr. Bhupesh Sharma. Dr. Bhupesh, if I can request you to provide your remarks.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. PT, can I share my presentation, PPT?
Yes, sir.
It is okay? And hello.
Sir, maybe on a full screen mode may be better, sir.
Okay. It is okay?
It has not yet come, sir. It's not come to the full screen mode for some reason.
I think this
already है sharing चल रही है.
it is okay?
Yes, I think you can continue, sir.
Okay. So I should start from my organization backgrounds. In the last 8 decades, institutes are working in a sustainable mode. And if we can say that what is the IP contributions of the institute in the country, it's a not-for-profit making organizations and working since last 8 decades. And presently there are almost 6 different divisions. In SRI TBI, we are supporting various startup innovators and entrepreneurs. This is one of the division, material science division, where our almost in 60s to 80s, our institute is almost registered 50 patents and at a rate of 60% award of the patents from the 50 to 80s. Imagine the contributions of the institute in the country. And material science division since then, after 90s, is working like a contract research organizations. Then we define our IP based on the upfront scope. So to sustain the institutes, which is having more than 500 faculties working in the industrial areas, industrial research area, to give our full-fledged exclusive right to the sponsors. So we reduce our IP filing, and now onwards, since 2015 onwards, we increase our IP filing itself. So this is, I think, we should not introduce the our thrust area of TBI. I think we should skip these slides. We should directly, I'm coming to that point where we are able to generate our IP. I think these are the various separate methods and other things. I'm directly coming to the points where recently.
The
Dr. Bhupesh, we are not
slides are
seeing
not
the
moving.
slides move. Maybe you can stop sharing and reshare again.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, I see the needs of each state slide 27. Is that what you're showing?
Now it is okay. I think I should.
Yeah, I'm seeing the needs of each stage slide.
It is okay.
Yeah, the slide which we are seeing is slide 27, which is the needs of each stage. Idea, seed, startup, expansion. Is that correct?
Now it is okay.
Sir, which slide because on the screen we are seeing slide 27. Is that the slide you are at?
I think I should continue with the discussion. I think something I should call somebody.
Or maybe we can go off the slide also. I'm sure you know this material very well. Dr. Bhupesh, maybe we can go without the slides.
Sir, you're on mute.
Okay. Now it is okay. I think I should continue with the discussions. I think so.
But you're not mute.
My voice is
Yes,
audible.
Are we audible, sir?
yes, you are.
Voice
Okay.
is audible, sir.
Can you see a screen?
Yes.
Okay, sir, please continue.
So I'm saying that the rate of IP registrations in 60s to 70s, and then what is the current status? So right now I'm directly coming to the points where recently during the COVID period, before this pandemic, we had run a accelerator program. In the accelerator programs, there are 16 various startups where we created value of around 1000 CRs. And out of 16 startups, 6 startups had got awarded their IP patents also. So this is how we run our institute based on the our value. And right now I'm directly coming where recently we had incorporate IPs. They, you can see there is a dental cement, there is a special intraocular lens we had developed, a special type of coating for wood coating industry where there is no volatile organic compounds in there, and the whole coating can be summarized within 5 to 6 minutes. In the conventional methods, at least 6 to 7 days required for exporting any articles. This is also a medical devices during gynecological investigation. This is the plaster cast we had developed recently, and the IP also awarded in this case. Various other uh, product we had developed where we created IP, and metal disperse optical fiber plastic we had developed in the institute where we registered our patents. Nano photocatalyst for 3D printing applications, titanium dioxide based formations we had developed. Since in the institute around 50 people are working in the material science division who are directly related to the development of any materials related to food, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, or any metals. So our institute is a lucky where our incubators, those who registered as a startup in our incubations program, they had supported by hardcore material scientists, those who understand what is the technology behind the any materials, whether it is related to the radiation resistance or some a specific purpose like tire of a truck or a aeroplane. We know how much weathering conditions is going to create impact on the materials. So this is how we run our institutes and created. And I would like to tell you, if you are not going to register IP, the innovators is going to lose their value. In 2002, there is a one case where myself also involved in that development of that process. In the country, you can see there is a whole shifting of packaging materials. Now you will find every packaging materials come into the multi-layer waste. The multi-layer waste could not be recycled till the 2005. In 2002, we are right now that technology was developed by our institute, and we are not able to register the IP. So presently in the country around 16 to 17 innovators had created their ventures, and more than 1000 CR fixed or capital investments is there in the recycling of multi-layer waste. Now we can say the real innovators or real researchers who are not able to register their IP is the loser. So I will say that people should take care of their IP before conceptualizations of their research work or findings into the markets. So being a research institute, I can say that now our researchers, our startups regularly filing their IPs. I would like to thank to the DST, DP, IIT, and Niti Ayogs, and like the ecosystems we had developed in the last 1 decades. I think this IP ecosystems is really a value. I fully agree with the statements that somebody say that it's a currency. I'm 100% sure it's a currency. For those who have the intellectual property or working in the domain of science and technology or anything related to this, they should register IP. Recently, some of the case filed in the case of edible cutleries. In the edible cutleries, some of our startups had developed this product, registered their IP also.
Dr. So in the interest of you, please wrap up. We have to
Okay,
invite them.
I think various type of product we had developed and commercialized. This is the way I think we should share. Some of the product are related to our developed by our researchers, some of our innovators, those who are directly dealing with. In the pandemic period, these are the product which had developed as well as awarded patents also. This is the anti-fog solutions. The during the when somebody are masking their self with the mask and other things, they are sun goggles and spectacles are condensing fogs and other things. This special type of formations we had developed. One of the startups granted, and our institute also awarded applicant as applicants also. So I think we should say thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for covering. These are a wide range of technologies, and
Yes,
kudos to the Shriram enabling them. And thank you for sharing these.
yes.
Thank you. May I now request Dr. Mini to please come on the stage and share her.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Hima. I believe there are a lot of students also among the audience. So, industry experts have spoken very well, and there are industry experts are also part of the audience, I believe. However, my talk is actually going to be very simple, and I basically would like to address the students in particular. I just want to focus on basics of IP, and I want to focus on why IP is important for the country, for the universities, and for the businesses. So this is going to be the basic structure of my talk. Um, See, IP, if I come to the very basics, IP refers to the creation of the mind, and anything that you invent, any literary and artistic work, any design, symbol, names, images that you use in commerce, anything that you create out of your mind basically becomes part of, you can, protect it through intellectual property. Now, whenever I talk about, give the basic lecture, the master class, like this is also a master class. So the introductory class that I take for my students, I've been teaching IP for, I've been teaching IP for past 7-8 years now. And in these years, I have taught general IP law, and I have taught patent in particular, patent drafting and specification writing, patent rights creation. This time I'm taking copyright law. So I always tell that irrespective of what IP it is, always remember who are the main players when it comes to IP scenario. So number one, they will always be the creators or the inventors, as the case may be. Number two, there will be society at large. And third, there will always be the government or the regulator, whose job is basically to create the right balance between the interest of innovators on one hand and the public on the other hand. That is the role of the government or the regulator or regulatory bodies. Now, what are the types of IPs? I think everybody knows by far: patents, copyright, trademark, industrial designs, GI, and trade secrets are the basic IPs. Now, why IPs are required for the country? If I broadly just touch upon the points, then IP creates and supports high paying jobs. This is very, very important. And IP drives economic growth and competitiveness. And strong and enforced IP rights protect consumers and their families. And IP also helps in generating breakthrough solutions to global challenges. So the COVID-19 scenario is the latest and the biggest example. And when we face global challenges, it is IP which comes to the rescue. Whatever vaccines we created, those were all protected through IP. And IPRs also encourage innovation and reward entrepreneurs. So I always tell one statement in my introductory class, that I tell my students that imagine if IP would not have been there, then how our class would have been happening. So I tell them that हम जमीन पे बैठे होते, हम जमीन पे बैठ के पढ़ रहे होते, because वहाँ पे कोई chair, कोई table, कोई AC, and notebooks and anything and everything that you're using, the pens, the bags, the phones, the projector, anything and everything that you see around you, somebody must have created it and also has protected it. But it is only by virtue of IP protection that the products actually enter the market. And then people like you and I buy it and we use it. And that's how, so this ये तो एक चीज हुई एक class को लेकर के मैंने आपको बताया. So IP is something which empowers everyone. It empowers the individual, it empowers the society, and it empowers the country, it empowers the businesses. So anybody and everybody, irrespective of whatever walk of life you are in, you should be IP conscious, because IP is going to help you in a big way. The more you adopt IP, the more it is going to empower you, enrich your life. So this is my small points as far as IP's importance for the country is concerned. And I also tell, when another point is that when we compare India with several other countries, particularly the developed countries, so I asked them that how exactly the countries which are developed, how did they, move ahead in the race of development? So I find that the two primary reasons is, first, the industrial revolution. Like if I talk about Europe in particular, so industrial revolution came and they took it very seriously. And also because these countries understood the relevance of protecting their inventions, their creations through IP very, very early. So if you read IP law and you read about the oldest of IP related laws, Berne Convention, Paris Convention, they happened in 1880s. So I asked my students, what were we doing in 1880s? So जिस देश ने जितना जल्दी इस बात को समझा that you need to protect your creativity, you need to protect your inventions, you need to foster a research climate where people feel happy and they feel protected, that their creativity is going to be protected, वो देश उतना आगे बढ़ेगा जितना जल्दी जो देश इस बात को समझेगा. So that is why they are there and we are also catching up. And I'm happy that we have a course like L2pro. And I'll agree with the one of the speakers who mentioned that एक time था, अभी मैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को बोलती हूँ कि वाइपो से आप कोर्स करिए इफ यू वांट अ फॉरेन सर्टिफिकेशन. अगर आपको आईपी में कुछ कोर्स करना है, so WIPO is the place to go. You go to WIPO Academy and you do all those distance learning courses, and you keep moving up as you move up the course. You keep doing several courses. But from now on, I'm certainly going to talk about L2pro as well, and because it's a wonderful course, I had seen it, and the amazing thing is that it not only talks about IP law. Like last time when I came, I remember this. I've not honestly not seen L2pro now, but what I saw was that it is a combination of IP law and IP management, and also it touches on the financial aspects. So it's a beautifully designed course, and I would recommend that anybody and everybody should do this course from whatever walk of life you are in. So this is as far as IP's relevance for country is concerned. As far as universities and IP is concerned, universities and public research institutions are the factories of knowledge economy, and IP adds another mechanism for universities to disseminate the knowledge that they generate and to have that knowledge used in economic sector. And if I quote my own university's bit old report, it's a 2018 self-study report. Then Amity University, Noida actually has created an enabling environment to foster research culture, providing required research infrastructure. We have several research projects funded by major science and technology organizations at national and international level. We also have an Amity innovation incubator supported by DST to support students, entrepreneurs to start up their own venture. And we also have an IP cell, basically which provides IP-free IP service to faculties, researchers, and students. So there are several initiatives that we have taken and we keep taking at the university level. At the institution, we are also having a lot of patents, and we always encourage, the university encourages the faculties, more and more faculties, to go for patents. And though I am from the law side, so but the people at my colleagues at the engineering departments and the science departments, they are always, aggressively filing for patents. Then, as far as the law school is concerned, we offer IP as a specialization because we understand that this is a market-oriented course and it has a very high value. And we teach around 8 to 10 subjects of IP. So students who opt for as an elective, we offer a lot of courses. Subjects we teach. At LLM level also, we have IP program. At the Corporate Resource Center, where I've been working for many years, helping my students in securing internships and placements. We've been touched with several IP lawyers and IP law firms and companies. So the idea is that we understand the relevance of IP. It is relevant for anybody and everybody, as I said, irrespective of whatever walk of life you are into. Now, coming to why IP is essential for businesses, because probably many SMEs and MSME people are also here. So I'll briefly touch upon that. A well-crafted intellectual property strategy can help maximize the potential of your business. And this, what I'm saying, I'm not saying it just like that. We all of us, I think we really mean it, that IP can really benefit your businesses if you are IP conscious from day one. The sooner you realize and you make your IP strategy in line with your business strategy, of course, you will start getting the benefits from day one. So using and understanding the IP rights, you can actually secure competitive advantages. You can generate revenue streams. You can reduce tax liability. It can serve as a source of competitive intelligence. It can facilitate access to financing. It can attract investors and partners, and you can avoid and mitigate relevant risks. So these are some of the benefits that you have. And some more, talking about brands. A brand basically sets a business apart from its competitors and building trust and consumer loyalty. And trademarks basically help you in doing that. So if you have logos, you must get them registered through trademarks. It will actually, help in creating and strengthening your brand. Then, from reassuring inventors to increasing margins, using your patents strategically can really improve your bottom line. So coming to patents, patents is of course very, very important, as all of us understand that if you create something, it is very, very important that you go and get it protected. Otherwise, any Tom, Dick and Harry can just pick up your idea next day, and all your effort will go in vain, and you will end up fighting in court and losing your time, effort, money, and peace. So it's very important that if you are creating something, then you must get it patented. Then, if protecting the way your product looks with an industrial design can provide a major competitive advantage. So if you're creating a product, you can also protect it through industrial design. Then copyright protects the expression of an idea in different forms. So whatever you are creating, say if you're writing something, you're creating a movie, you're creating some video, or whatever your business is, if you are creating some content, you must get it protected. It should get protected by copyright, and copyright by the way you automatically gets copyright by creating it. Then
Dr. Miriam, sorry, we have to wrap up in a minute or so.
So I'll close my session just by giving some 2-3 points more. The advice to all MSMEs and SMEs and other businesses that you must understand the relevance of IP for businesses clearly, and you must pursue the L2pro course as it covers law, management, and cost financing aspects. and be conscious of whatever your business is creating and take practical steps. जो भी आप create करें उसे आप protect करें. Take practical steps for protecting your creativity, logo, manuals, etc. Build a robust IP strategy in line with overall business strategy, and also explore the area of monetization of IP through assignments and licenses. That is all from my side. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Sincere thanks, Dr. Many. Really kind remarks on our program, but more so on how the nation is progressing and how we can all contribute to it. I think that passion was clearly, it came across the screen to all of us. So
Thank you.
So I really hope that a lot of us take action from this, because IPR is a right, as the name says. It's an intellectual property right, but we have to be cognizant about it. We have to be aware of what we are making, and there are numerous things that we have in development. Right? It could be a product which can enable inventions, it could enable patents, it could enable a lot of trademarks, it could enable GI tags, copyrights. There are various rights which are involved. And as one of the speakers said earlier, it should be a big part of your business strategy. So you don't just think of IP as a very separate domain that you have to look up every now and then. If it is a part of your business strategy, you'll automatically get in that mold of, okay, what do I need to do? What am I missing out on? There are various resources which are there. If you have, what we saw today are leading institutions which have such fabulous folks, who are advising people on IPR matters. Look at them around you, and I'm sure if you touch any one of them, right, if you approach them with a query, they'll be more than happy to help you. Like, not just for your immediate question, but for your next 10 steps ahead. So look up people who are leading these functions. Beyond that, ASSOCHAM also runs an IP facilitation center. So do send queries to us. We have the ASSOCHAM team here. You can email them, and if they know directly, they will help you right away. But if not, there are other dots that we can help connect. Okay. Now, having said that, I think we are just a bit past our meeting end time. I wish we could stay on for a few more questions, but in the interest of time, let's wrap it up here. I thank all the speakers. Rajneesh had to leave early, but Dr. Srivastav, Dr. Sharma, and Mr. Pandey, thank you so much for your inspiring remarks and sharing your case studies. You have really inspired all of us, and kudos to your institutions as well. So thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Baba.
Thanks.
Thank you.